Hi there, and welcome to Fuzzy on the Details. My name is Fuzzy, and in today's video we'll be statting up the MCU version of the Red Guardian for the Marvel Multiverse Role-Playing Game. Thanks to everyone who voted in my last poll, he was a pretty clear winner. Now, why was he such a popular request? Well, earlier this summer, a free Thunderbolts Adventure was made available as part of Free RPG Day, and it included pre-generated character profiles for the comic book versions of the Thunderbolts characters. And characters like Yelena and Bucky are pretty similar to their MCU versions, but the Red Guardian? Well, Red Guardian was pretty different in the movies than he is on the character sheet here. And thank God for that, because David Harbour did such a great job with this character. A lot of folks really want to roleplay that version of him rather than the comic book version. So I'm going to take you through how to build an MCU character like the Red Guardian, and how to build a fun and balanced MMRPG character in general. Now, when we built Ghost in a previous video, we didn't have a starting profile to work with, but for Alexei here, we can use the profile that we got in the free RPG book as a base. I've copied it into Demiplane so we don't have to start from scratch. On the Getting Started tab, well, let's of course update his name and pick, and we'll keep him at rank 3 because that's the same rank as all of the other pregens in the Thunderbolts Adventure. Moving to Bio, we can see that the comic book version has special training and military. Well, in the MCU, he's definitely had a super soldier serum, so we'll change his special training origin to weird science, which is the same origin that Captain America has. I think the weird trait works really well for Alexei. He can be very persuasive to his loved ones, and other people, well, not so much. If you're playing with the Spider-Verse rules, then having the weird trait can let you take advantage of bad karma. Alexei has definitely run into some bad luck, so yeah, I really like this origin for him. Now, in the beginning of Black Widow, they show how Alexei was a spy, but he didn't really like it. He wanted to be back in the field, so he can keep his occupation as military. He's more of an in-your-face combatant than a skulking spy anyway, at least at this stage in his life. So let's move forward to traits and tags. And right off the bat, the beguiling trait has got to go.
You smell really bad.
Gambit, he is not. Let's consider the piloting trait. We know he has a plane in his backyard in Black Widow, and while Melina takes off, she gets shot and is barely conscious while they land. You don't actually see who lands the plane in the film, but we can assume it has got to be Alexei. So we can let him keep piloting, especially since it reflects his awesome limo driving skills. We do see him handle a number of henchmen rather easily, so I think we can let him keep Combat Expert, which gives him an edge fighting rank 1 characters. When I consider the other traits that he can have, the one that calls out to me is determination. Alexei can be a bit, well, pig-headed.
You named the pig after me?
You don't see the resemblance?
But like the trait says, he never gives up. Now, we could give him the trait directly, of course, or we could take Extraordinary Origin and then take Special Training as a second origin, and you'd get determination for free. There's literally no difference other than flavor. I just feel that two origins better represent super soldiers who are regular military guys and really well trained before they got their upgrade giving them that extra origin. As you've probably heard me say before, there are many right ways to build a character in this game, and I'd love to hear yours. If you've chosen different traits, let me know in the comments. Moving to tags. Heroic is fine, there's no doubt about it. By the time we get to the end of the Thunderbolts, he is a hero. He's even on a Wheaties box. Public identity, I think we can keep it. At the very least, in the Russian prison in Black Widow, everybody knew his real name and identity. But signature weapons boomerang, that has got to go. And finally, we'll give him headquarters, especially after the post-credit clip in Thunderbolts where we see the Thunderbolts operating out of the Watchtower. Now let's take a look at powers. First off, we never see him carry his shield. There's one scene in the Black Widow where he throws Taskmaster's shield, but that's about it. Definitely not an iconic weapon for him, so let's lose the iconic weapon power. Martial arts will keep, and probably add to, since he almost always fights unarmed. And looking at shield bearer, well, we could get a little drastic here and remove that power set entirely. I do like do this all day for him, but we can get that through martial arts. Alright, so here's what we're looking at. 9 power points to spend, and one of those is from a thematic bonus. Let's review the basic power set first. I do like him having inspiration. He is the first guy on the team to shout encouraging words. Yes! Yeah! Or to pull on Yelena's heartstrings.
Okay, that was really good.
And one big difference between the MCU Red Guardian is that he's got super strength, thanks to the super soldier serum he took. He definitely needs to have Mighty 1. That's the only addition from the basic power set that calls out to me as a no-brainer, so let's move on, and we can always come back if we need to. I do like attack stance from both a mechanical and a roleplay perspective. You can actually see him get into this little stance here when he's fighting Taskmaster. We can keep grappling technique and spin and throw too. He fights chiefly with his hands, and he's not so much a punch someone in the face guy as he is a grabbing someone and throwing them through a window guy. And like I said earlier, I really like Do This All Day, so let's give that back to him. He takes a beating from Taskmaster and keeps going. For this reason, I really like Brace for Impact too. He had this power under the Shield Bearer power set, and in this scene, he uses his body as a shield to save this little girl. So yeah, I really like this one for him. And because we ditched the Shield Bearer power set, we have plenty of power slots to play with, so let's give him Always Ready, which gives him another reaction so long as he's using a martial arts power. And finally, let's give him Crushing Grip. I mean, he broke Ursa Major's wrist in arm wrestling, so that's a pretty crushing grip right there. Plus, it gives him another martial arts reaction to play with. As I'm choosing these martial arts powers, I'm leaning into the spirit of the character. Alexei is primarily a hand-to-hand combatant. While he does have one prominent scene in Black Widow where he uses a rifle, and he's quite good at it despite being on the wing of an airplane, we never see him use that gun again. And remember, even if you don't give him any ranged weapon powers, he can always pick up a rifle and shoot someone. You don't need a power to do that. I'm sort of feeling Battle Plan too. The name of the power feels a little specific, but there's nothing about the effect that states it has to be a well thought out, logical plan to give your allies that edge. Now, power selections like this give the character more options than just attacking, but I love them because they also give players some easy opportunities for roleplay at the table. Okay, one power left plus one for thematic bonus. We could dip into the super strength power set and take jump 1 based on this scene, but again, that's just one scene, and if anyone should have jump 1 based on just one scene, it should definitely be US Agent. We could take fast strikes as a prerequisite and then take chain strikes. I'm a bit meh on this option too. I'm not sure he'd even ever use those powers since he's so invested in using grappling technique as a lead attack and then using a reaction to get another attack in because with his extra reaction, it's almost always better to go with grappling technique and then follow it up with either crushing grip or spinning throw. So yeah, let's go for something different. Here are two options that I really like. One, the brawling basic power. It would give him a couple of extra points on agility defense, and we've seen him block or otherwise get out of the way of ranged attacks. And how about Enduring Constitution? That could be a pretty good fit, as we see in this scene.
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Or even in this one.
I just got out of prison. I have a lot of energy.
Please don't do that.
As I'm wrapping up with these final selections, I'm not necessarily thinking about the powers or traits that would make him the absolute best OP character. A trait like Enduring Constitution is pretty uncommon, but it's got a couple of funny moments attached to it in the films, and choices like that can really help me enjoy playing a character more. And for me, that's the way you win at role-playing games, by having a good time. So yeah, let's take Brawling, and let's take Enduring Constitution, which we can get by investing in an extra trait, which we can do just by clicking here. And you can see that gives us an extra trait, and then we'll hop on over to the trait section and give ourselves Enduring Constitution. Now we can head back to ability scores and see if we can adjust anything else. One thing you can do to help a character feel balanced is to look at other character profiles on the team and make sure he's in line. For example, Bucky is the only character amongst the pregens that has a melee higher than 4, and he's in his prime, so 4 feels right for the Red Guardian. I wouldn't want to take away from that one thing that makes Bucky feel special. Agility of 2 feels right as well. We didn't give him any ranged powers, but he should still be decent enough with a gun or a thrown weapon since we've seen him do that. Resilience is one area I could see bumping up just based on the beating that he takes without any damage reduction. And I could definitely see bumping his logic down to 0. So I think we just make those 2 minor adjustments and we're done. Here are some basic tips on how you can play the Red Guardian in a way that gets the most out of this build. Don't be afraid to use all that focus that you've got. Thanks to the determination trait, you won't gain trouble on your actions if you reach 0 focus. So, use that focus to keep your health up while you've got it, using Do This All Day, and stay in the fight. Speaking of which, if you do need healing, it's ideal to use Do This All Day when you're out of combat, because it takes a standard action, and that's a pretty big sacrifice for Red Guardian, who can easily turn a standard action into 2 attacks, by starting with grappling technique, and then following up with crush and grip or spin and throw, using that extra martial arts reaction we get from Always Ready. And you still got a reaction left over in case you need it to use Brace for Impact, which can reduce the damage you take so you don't need to heal in combat. Again, outside of combat, getting 2 points of health for every point of focus using Do This All Day is better. But in combat, being able to reduce the damage you take by 1 health per focus while also getting 2 attacks in is a way better approach, unless you're really on death's door. And in case you missed my YouTube post from a few days ago, here's a fun take on Red Guardian's Limo, pulling directly from Thunderbolts. The whole scene in the limo is amazing, and I really like the idea of taking lines from the movie and trying to translate them into abilities. So for me, bulletproof-ish needs to be a weakened version of sturdy, so I've represented that here by having it only work while the vehicle has more than half hit points. And I've translated these ineffective Molotov cocktails from the bar by taking a flashbang grenade and weakening it just a little bit by having it only setting something ablaze and blinding on a fantastic success versus blinding and stunning on a fantastic success. And giving a vehicle mobility issues is just funny to me and an excuse to cap the speed out at 55 miles per hour even when being chased by a convoy. Let me know if you've got any other vehicles that you'd like me to take a swing at. Once the Avengers book comes out, I'm going to be making some additions to my website to include sections for vehicle, iconic item, and headquarter builds, in addition to the community character profile links I've got. This game was always fun to homebrew for, but the opportunities are only going to increase once the Avengers book is out. I can't wait. Well, that's all I've got for you today, friends. Thanks as always for your support, and I hope you all have a great day.